Scott.
I'm John.
And we're married.
Yay.
And we have a knitcast.
We have a knitcast. Welcome to a special Christmas edition of our knitcast.
How is it special?
Because it's Christmas? Well, I just think, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think we've ever really, because we usually go somewhere for the holidays, I don't think we've ever really been here to podcast this close to Christmas.
That's true. That's true. We don't normally podcast as close to Christmas as we are right now.
So, and we have the tree set up, and we have festive sweaters.
And this isn't a Christmas sweater. This is just a normal sweater. I would wear this to work.
Well, it's in the Christmas genre. I feel like mine is something that you would get, like, you know, a Hallmark movie set in a, like, fictional Eastern European country.
Like Princess Switched again.
Right. This is what they give to, like, an extra in the background who they don't want to spend a lot of money on the costume. So,
for any of you who know Kohl's, I went to Kohl's because only Kohl's will have weird Christmas sweaters. Yeah. And this sweater, like the price tag, it was like less than half of what was on the price tag because that's what always happens at Kohl's.
Yes, especially...
Always makes me laugh.
Yeah, especially, you know, Christmassy stuff gets more marked down the closer to Christmas.
Right.
So...
Yeah, it was tough to find Christmas sweaters.
Really? I think stuff gets picked over pretty quickly because...
Yeah. All right, here's just reminded us that since we're podcasting...
He needs to have a stick to occupy him.
Yes, he has to have something to occupy him.
Otherwise, he will be in our business the whole time. And that's cute, but...
Well, no, he puts things in his mouth he's not supposed to have in his mouth.
Yeah.
And then comes up to us like, look what I can do. All right, so it's been a minute. Oh, I just said that. Oh, I don't like when people say that it's been a minute.
You know, it's been 19 days.
Oh, right. Since we podcast last? Yeah.
Yeah, so... I think we podcast, our last one was posted on the 1st of December, so I think it's the 19th today. So
we fell off the podcast wagon.
Yes.
And for a good reason. And in an effort... In an effort to normalize mental health issues, I'm not laughing about the mental health issues. I'm laughing because you guys have probably heard us reference the episode that got recorded and never was posted. The episode that never was.
Right.
Where I had one too many cocktails. And I went on like a 15-minute... What would you call that? It wasn't a diatribe. It was like a confessional. It was like a
slosh-fessional.
It was like a breakdown about mental health issues. But in an effort to normalize mental health issues, I had a bit of a difficult couple weeks with my anxiety, which causes me to not sleep and not eat and not want to function in the world. And it was just because there's a lot of stress going on at work, and I think that's what triggered it. But if any of you have that issue, you know that it can be just how many clouds there are in the sky or how many like grains of rice there are in your bowl. I mean, like it's not necessarily logical. So we're back though, and we're back. We're feeling good.
I know. And we have quite a bit to show, so that's kind of fun.
Yes, yes, we do.
We have finished objects. I've got 2. You've got 2 also, right? Or
well, most of my work is ornaments, and they're kind of half done, and I'm not really categorizing things as finished or not finished these days.
All right.
Most of mine is not finished. I think I have one finished object, which is the little tree. But
okay, it's so cute. So you have a lot of works in progress. So fun fact, Scott. We were talking about Scott's work the other night. And he mentioned that they use the term whip at his work to talk about works in progress.
Which, like, we use this term whip, and it stands for work in progress.
And I'm like, yes.
And I was like, wait a second. It was one of those things where when you're using a term in one environment, and then you use it in the other environment,
it means something different,
you don't connect. Well, because a whip and I don't know if this is universal financial term, because I don't feel like it is. Mm-hmm. But the term for the number that identifies the budget for a project is called a WIP. So it's like, hey, do you have the WIP for that project?
Okay.
Is the number that identifies that work in progress.
Okay.
So anyway, I was regaling John with fascinating stories about the financial part. So I've recently been promoted at work. Technically, on this past Monday was my first. Sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. My first day as the manager of my team, which is the imaging, it's radiology IT. So I'm having to learn all kinds of new fun things with my job.
Fun. And then we're not in a straight direction at all, so that's okay. I'll just go to my next thing.
Okay.
And we had our Christmas concert last night. So we both are part of the Twin Cities Gay Men's Chorus. We released a virtual Christmas concert last night. Scott sang in it. I did not. And Scott has a really fun solo, which if you have seen it, that's awesome. If you are interested in seeing it, it's at the... we'll put a link of it to the show notes.
Yeah, I'll put it on the screen, and then I'll also put it in the description.
Yeah, but it's the Twin Cities Gay Men's Chorus YouTube channel.
Yeah, if you just go to YouTube and search for Twin Cities Gay Men's Chorus, then you'll find it.
Right.
And it's called Holiday Hot Dish. For those of you who don't know, hot dish is a uniquely Minnesotan term for a casserole.
Is it? I feel like I'm still not 100. I mean, so we've both lived here a long time. I still feel like I get pushback when I say it's just I feel like hot dish is like not exactly a casserole.
It is a casserole.
Okay.
I think there's a bit of a cultural thing where there's certain things that Minnesotans think need to go into it for it to be a hot dish, such as cream of mushroom soup.
Gotcha.
But it could be that...
Hi, Harris. We love you.
It could be that a hot dish is a subset of casseroles, but you will not hear a Minnesotan use the term casserole.
Right. So when
they might talk about the casserole dish that a hot dish goes in.
Right. When I first moved up here, I was so confused. Like, we're bringing a hot dish. I'm like, okay, I'll bring a salad. You know. Anyway, so that's the concert's holiday hot dish. And it is...
It turned out, it's about an hour long.
Yeah.
So it's not, you don't have to dedicate 2.5 hours to sitting down and watching it. Plus it's YouTube, so you can just stop if you want to watch it. It premiered yesterday at 7 p.m. Central, but it's now posted for
whenever
posterity.
You want to watch it. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's really, really fun. There's fun things, there's touching, meaningful things.
Right.
It's hosted by a drag queen.
Right.
Miss Twin Cities Gay Men's Chorus. So
there may be an innuendo or three.
Right. It is a Gay Men's Christmas chorus concert.
So yeah.
So we'll make sure that everybody gets the link to it. And I apologize. We were planning on podcasting prior to the concert so that everybody could know the link and everything to when it was going to premiere live. It wasn't obviously performed live. It was just posted, and then there was a live chat that was going on during it.
Right.
But some people from the interwebs out there, some of you Googled and figured it out and found it and watched, I think, because I saw some references, people saying Scott and John in the little chat. So that was pretty amazing. Yeah.
I also put an Instagram in my Instagram too.
Oh, did you?
So, so maybe people found it that way too. Advertising. So we have finished objects, whips in project,
whips in project,
works in progress. We have an Angela Lansbury movie.
Yep.
We have a BA update.
I don't want to talk about Betty Ann.
It's a Christmas BA update.
Okay.
It's all about how does Betty Ann celebrate the holidays. And then we have actually quite a few acquisitions, as one does when one has a yarn buying problem.
Right.
Like 3 weeks of acquisitions ends up being a bit. So.
Right.
All right.
Yeah, and so I have notes, but they are things from the comments that I'm going to work into the conversation. For a period of time there, I was doing all the comments in one big chunk, but I think it's flows a little bit better if I work it into the conversation.
Sounds good.
First thing I do want to talk about, though, was the DPNs.
Okay.
So I had, And what I'll do is I'll talk about that, and then that'll flow into, I'll talk about my knitting first, my ornament knitting first.
Okay.
I had talked about DPNs and wanting to find a nice set of DPNs. Got some amazing responses. It was so cool. I love asking questions like that on our show, because it's like people respond and you get exposed to all these things you wouldn't have normally. So first of all, Deb mentioned the Knitter's Pride sock set DPNs. That's size 0 through 9.
Okay.
So I didn't know that set existed. So that's one I might check out. There's also Jenny Miles, and I think a couple people mentioned the Lykke set, which is, those Lykke needles are amazing. So those, of course, would be amazing to have. And then T. Kuffner, or Kuffner, mentioned Brittany is the company. Now, I had never heard of them, but they make needles, knitting needles, crochet hooks, things like that, and they're made out of birch or black walnut.
Oh my god, we could have used our tree in the backyard.
But their needles are out of this world beautiful. So,
really?
Yeah, so I'm going to link this stuff in the description below, but those needles are just absolutely beautiful. They seem to make a lot of really ornate straight needles.
Okay.
And crochet hooks. So the handles are very ornate, turned wood and stuff like that.
Neat.
And then there was somebody, D.D. Terrio, I think was the name, in the person who commented. And they mentioned DyakCraft or DyakCraft. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's D-Y-A-K craft.
Yep.
They're in Vermont. It's a couple named Tom and Linda, and they also have beautiful handmade, very expensive wooden needles that include DPNs.
Oh, nice.
So I did end up getting the Knit Picks, I think it is a Knit Pick. So I had this one, which is the Knit Picks 5-inch Harmony wood double pointed needles, but that only goes up to US 3, which is 3.25 millimeters. And then I ended up getting this one, which goes up to 3.5 millimeters. And these are 4-inch needles, which these are 5-inch. So it was interesting. I've been knitting with these 4-inch needles, and they're very small, but they work perfectly for things like ornaments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we don't. Yeah. That's cool. So,
yeah.
Now, just I wouldn't. Santa might be getting you something.
I suspect that Santa might be getting me something, so I am not purchasing.
You should wait until
I'm holding
Santa,
on purchasing any more DPNs.
Yeah,
until after
Santa might
Christmas.
have plans for you.
Yes. So, I want to talk a little bit about the ornaments that I've done. So I did. Our friend Lucy had gifted me, or us, although you're not going to probably knit any, Arne and Carlos, the newest collection of ornaments, and so. It's looking a little smashed right now, but I'm not the best at forming these. But this is one, which is it's got a red bottom, and then it's kind of an abstract Christmas tree look to it. And so that turned out really nice. And then...
So I feel like that one, just the stuffing needs to be... I think that's a stuffing issue. I think if you figured out a way to maybe the equivalent of putting when you put a down coat in the the stuffing needs to be puffed up and less bunchy. And I think if you I don't know how you do that.
Well, they talk about in the pattern about using wool or something, roving or something.
Oh yeah.
But I've just got that fiber fill stuff, so maybe if I throw it in the dryer with some tennis balls, that'll puff it up a little bit or something.
I have no idea.
It'll obliterate it and it'll be destroyed. But, and I'm not that torn up about it. Eventually, I mean, I think I'll eventually learn how to make. I feel like Kevin and Ray from the Needles at the Ready podcast, they did it. They did some, and theirs looked better than shape than mine. But I didn't ask them what they used for the stuffing.
Yeah, I think that you could. Yeah,
but at least it's not a potato.
It is not.
Which my last ones were.
It is a tomato shape, which is good.
And I didn't write it down, and I can't remember if it was, I think it was Kevin from the Needles at the Ready podcast was talking about using non-superwash wool, non-superwash yarn.
Okay.
For wool, specifically for knitting things like this, because that does a really good job with color work.
Okay.
And it shows the color work really well.
It's got a little more heft to it, maybe?
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I used, I think, a mixture of acrylic and maybe some superwash with some silk. I mean, I used just bits and bobs of whatever I had. So, I'm still happy with it. You know, it's still a handmade ornament. I'm working on, this one. I was going to try to put stuffing in it at this stage. Because on this one, I put stuffing in it before I was done with it, and it was tough to finish it.
Right.
But that's a tiny little hole, so I don't know.
What you need is basically the equivalent of a pastry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm working on this one.
I like that
This
one's really
turned
pretty.
out really
Yeah.
nice. And then the other thing that I did was this little Christmas tree, and this is from the Susan B. Anthony collection. I'll link it in the description, but it's so if you watched our previous episode, I did a sweater and a pair of little miniature mittens. And this is from that collection. I'm going to make 1,000 of these and give these away because they're so much fun to do. They're really quick. This one's a little overstuffed, like it looks almost like a mushroom because I put too much stuffing in it.
Yeah.
Because this is supposed to be flatter.
Right.
You know, so, but these little ornaments are made using a French knot.
Okay. Oh, so it's not a bauble. It's
No.
a French knot, like embroidery.
Yeah, and it's the coolest little knot.
Oh, yeah.
To make. It just makes it look really cute. I might do multiple colors. This was just the first one that I did. So these turned out really nice. And then the last thing I'm working... Okay, sorry, this is going to dive in a little bit to acquisitions and stuff as well.
Oh, my God.
But, so if you remember last time I was complaining about not being able to find...
Sparkly yarn.
Sparkly yarn. And so I was perusing on Trilogy Yarn's website. Nancy from Spokane. Did you see how easily I did that? Nancy's website, and she has an entire sparkle base that she will dye. I think most, if not all of it. I think
almost any color.
I don't want to say that because if it's not true, then I've put it out in the universe, and then anyway, I was able to find colorways that she dyes on the sparkle base. I was on her website. I found her Razzle Dazzle base, which is 70% merino, 20% nylon, and 10% Starlina. And so I got Wild Strawberry, Forest Green, and Mommy's Kisses. To use to make ornaments. Now, these two are in her Crayola line.
Right.
So, colors that are inspired by Crayola colors. So...
And Mommy's Kisses isn't a Crayola color.
Mommy's Kisses is not a Crayola color. However, hopefully it's picking up how beautiful that Stellina is. And then, so I started and I need to finish. This is a little stocking. So, and it's done with a heel flap and gusset.
Oh my God.
So I've done the heel flap. No, just got.
Is that from the same place for you, the Susan B. Anthony, where you got
it's the same as this.
And the sweater and the stuff.
And the sweater and the
Very cool.
Yeah. So.
Oh, that's adorable.
Yeah, the only thing I'm upset about is that, like if you look at this side, I did that little pearl ridge.
Oh my God.
I know.
Christmas is ruined.
I know. So I don't know how I did that, but yeah. So I'm super excited for this to get done, and I'm just gonna make some more. I make cookies and bars and stuff like that, and make gift packages with all that stuff, and then include some hand knitted ornaments every year as the gifts to my family.
Yep.
So that's what I'll be. Yeah, and it's like 2 or 3 days. No, 2 days. No. It's not there it's less than a week till Christmas. This isn't going to get to them for Christmas, and that's I already told them that they're not going to get their stuff by Christmas.
Yeah.
Doing the best that I can.
Well, I mean, I sent my stuff in the mail a week ago, and it's still not there yet. So the UPS, U.S. Postal Service, is having a little bit of a glut right now.
Yeah.
So hopefully things will get there when they get there.
It'll
probably get there faster if you send it after Christmas than if you send it before Christmas.
Yeah.
So
and so we're not sending out Christmas cards this year. We're sending out New Year's cards because,
because we never get our act together in time anyway.
Well, and it was particularly worse this year just because, of the struggles I was having, plus the new job that I've got. I was, trying to catch up with information trying to get a knowledge dump from my boss before she retired and I took over the position and stuff. So
it's all good, baby.
It is.
We're doing just fine.
We're doing just fine. I'm okay. You're okay.
Yes.
All right. So I talked about several different things there.
That was like both acquisitions, finished objects, and whips. So you need to just pipe down for a little bit.
Scott's Ornament Corner.
Yeah, Ornament Corner. All right. So I will start with the hat. So this is the hat I'm knitting for our neighbor Greg. The pattern is Seeds by Jared Flood. And it is knit in Brooklyn tweed shelter. Not loft, but shelter. So this one's actually been done for a little while, but and I feel bad because it's, obviously it's been done for a little while, but I'm like, I can't give it to Greg until I podcast about it, which just seems a little silly. Anyway, so this is all done. You want to put it on?
Yes, you can put it on me.
Okay.
Or did you want to put it on?
No, you put it on.
Oh.
So, I really like it. I like the color work. I love the feel. Just kind of about the something about that woolen spun.
Is this blocked?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I haven't looked at it since. I did.
I steam blocked it. I didn't wet block it.
That's right. So what is that? I didn't realize that the dark color yarn actually has specks of red in it.
It does? I have no idea.
Yeah, so can you see the red there?
Nope.
You can't? You can see the red there?
Nope.
It's like fire engine red, those little blips.
Nope.
Oh, that's fun. Yay.
Do you see what I see? So anyway.
Can you see this red?
Yes, I can see that red.
Sorry. Har.
It never gets old.
I know. Never gets old.
So yeah,
look, you can't do something I can do, but you were born that way.
Right.
It's not really bragging rights.
No,
go ahead.
It's something. So anyway, I really liked doing that hat. This hat, it was very fun. And I always like this bit where you take your color work, you turn it inside out. Yay!
Oh. Can I talk about the joins for a minute?
Yes.
Okay, so a couple people talked about jogless joins, which I know you know how to do.
Yeah.
But there were a couple. There was lots of comments about joins in general because of you showing this hat last time and then me showing my socks that I did with the Halloween advent from Nancy, and there was Hey Brown Berry. So. Shatri Bulner and Bolshoi 1959, which is a pretty cool YouTube name, I think, both commented on the video from Hey Brownberry on how to knit jogless stripes with no ends to weave in.
Okay.
Now, I liked it. I liked the technique. It seems really cool. I would worry. I think a hat would be good, maybe, and I think like if you're doing it with like ornaments or something, I worry about doing it with socks because I'm not sure how that's going to work with elasticity because not necessarily in reference to the joins, but in reference to weaving the ends in. I use the technique that Very Pink Knits has where you go into and out of the smiles and umbrellas as she calls them. And that retains the elasticity of,
Right.
of the fabric. I worry that with this technique that you might lose some of that, but it's definitely worth a try because it was a really cool. You haven't seen it yet, have you?
No, I have
Okay.
not.
The other join was the Weave and Steven join,
Okay.
which I think was the Stephen West
Sure.
thing. I have not tried that one, and then the other one was a clasp. Christy Stewart mentioned a clasp weft join.
Okay.
So we have a few things to try in the future if we want.
Yeah, I have a hat on the queue, which is a series. It's a striped hat, so I will certainly check that. That'll be good practice for those.
With like 1,000 minis on it.
Yeah, exactly. So that's on the
list.
On the list. So that would be actually really good. Yeah, I think the thing which is I find weird, I think if you can sort of see it with this one, is that you have the jogs, right, where you joined, and then I always get a little bit of a ridge sometimes from carrying the yarn up. So, you know, when you're...
I do think that with these techniques you would not run into that.
Right.
Based on having seen the... Well, so with some of those techniques, I guess you would have to carry the yarn up with color work.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We'll see. I will certainly check them out before I start the next one.
I mean, the bottom line is that's not bad.
No,
it's
fine.
not like it's a problem. It's just
if you
do it a different technique.
Right. So, and this is actually surprisingly, I feel it's kind of snug and cozy and warm.
It is warm, yeah, and I think that's probably to do with
the color work and the woolen spun wool.
The woolen spun yarn.
Yeah, because I was wondering, I've never made a fingering weight hat before, and so I was a little curious if that would be actually a hat or just a delicate thing you put on your head.
Thank you.
So that is my finished object, and...
All right, so my only other thing that I'm working on is a hat. This bag is completely covered in cat hair. It's
That's
disgusting,
so weird, a black bag with white cat hair.
All right, so the next project that I'm going to show, let me form a thought, is a hat for the collection of hats that we're knitting for our neighbors. Where it's not a Christmas gift.
No.
Thank God, which last episode I found out. It is just through the winter we are knitting all of our neighbors' hats because we love knitting hats. And so somebody, was it you or somebody?
No, someone suggested this site, the Year of Hats by Kelborn Woolens.
Right. So I picked the Year of Hats June, which I'm going to knit 15,000 of these hats. So I guess they don't really have names other than it was the June hat. But I'll show it in just a minute here. But it is the whole hat is purled, which some people really dislike purling. I knit faster than I purl, but I wanted to do this hat specifically to get purling more into my fingers than just like when I'm doing 2x2 rib or something for my socks. So I'm gonna show my hat now. So this is what it looks like. And I am so excited.
Because you're into the decreases now, right?
Yes, I'm into the decreases. And it's used, so the color is there's like a black yarn, which is it was from the wool mill that we went to a couple years ago. And it doesn't have a name. It was just some not natural, but some black wool. Blackberry Ridge.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Was the mill that we went to, is in Wisconsin near the falling water.
Yeah.
Not falling water.
House
on the Rock. So it says it's a silk blend. It feels kind of woolly, toothy, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's non-superwash with some silk in it. Category yarn, it says.
Okay.
And then this is Friday, and then the color yarn is Friday Night Fire Pit. by Ravenswood Fibre. And it is merino superwash. So I think this is so cool.
I think it's really amazing how the pooling almost creates vertical stripes.
Yeah. And I think one of the things I like about it is that this pattern would be great to show off a yarn that's colorful like this, that you don't necessarily want it just to be solid that color.
Right, yeah.
So I absolutely love this hat. Like John said, it's a very basic knit. It's not complicated, and I'm working. Plus, I like geometric, lines.
Yeah.
I like that kind of look. So I'm working on the Crondi creases. This is going to be for our friend Nate, or Nate 2, as we call him, since there are 2 Nates in the neighborhood. To go along with that, I had purchased some stuff from Leading Men Fiber Arts, and I bought 2 of these little, they called like yarn pouches.
Yarn pouches, yeah.
Yeah, the Pete Moss Novelties is the tag on it, so I'm assuming that Pete Moss Novelties is who makes it, and then Leading Men Fiber Arts sells it. But it's got a box bottom on it, and then it has little snaps. So this skein is too large to fit in there, but the other skein is perfect for it. So
yeah.
I got 2 mustaches.
Nice.
And then so that is that.
That is great. I really like that hat.
Yeah, me too.
So
I'm gonna make one for myself, or for us.
Yeah. Well, I think what's fun about these hats, and my next one will be really even more, is that the nice thing about it is I'm making hats that I might not wear myself.
Right.
So it definitely gives you a little more freedom to explore and try new things.
Right, for sure.
Yeah. All right. So my next finished object, I'm super happy about this one. So I finished a pair of mittens that I had not started at this last podcast. So this is kind of fun. So the pattern is called an Unsent Letter, and it's by the designer October Evening. And she's the same designer that designed that hat that I made for Jenny a couple of weeks ago.
The wheat?
The wheat hat.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I did and then I forgot.
Yeah, so it was kind of fun because I just made that hat for Jenny, the wheat hat. And then I was sort of browsing around her Ravelry page, and I found this mitten pattern. And I really liked it, but... So I've knit 1 pair of mittens before. And so... But this was a... the pattern is written for a woman's size small. And I'm like, that's not going to work. So what I did is I took her pattern, Unsent Letter, and basically found a different pattern by KT, Knit with KT, and it's basically a basic men's mitten pattern for large mittens with worsted weight, and it sort of was really close to this pattern, so I used this pattern to help with the sizing for this pattern. So it was kind of fun. Again, I didn't feel confident enough in my knowledge of mittens to just like wing it. So that was really great. So this is a really, really great pattern. It's a free pattern. We'll put the show notes in somewhere. So this is a really great pattern for basically men's worsted weight mittens. So if you want a sort of vanilla worsted weight knitting thing, and then I use this to combine with this one, and here's what it came out like.
Did you already weave in your ends?
I blocked it, wove them.
Oh wow! Cool.
So here they are.
Oh yeah, you can tell you blocked them now.
Yeah. So anyway, these are the mittens. Ta-da! And so what I love about this. So anyway, number one, they fit really well. So they're the right size. And I love this colorwork pattern. It's basically, and the idea behind the pattern was it's called Unsent Letter, and it's supposed to look like a window, a stamp on envelope. Little windows are.
So a stamp and a window are two different things.
Let me read it what she said. She writes about it better than I did. The simple the simple shape of a postage stamp. So never mind. So it's just basically looks like a postage stamp. So
you can keep going. I'm just reading.
okay. So yeah, I really like this, and what I also like about this, so it's and basically I just used some leftover worsted weight yarn to do the contrast color. But what I like about it is it's color work, but it also, the way it's done is there's texture to it too, so you really feel it in the finger area or something like that.
Yeah, and this was an interesting discussion as far as picking the yarn, because this yarn, the main color, is a very strange combo. It's like a chocolate brown
with a little pink.
With pink. What's that called? Marled. It's like, marled in there in the yarn, pink. And then just a gray for the contrast color.
Yeah, and so we had gotten this yarn. This yarn we got in Colorado. It is from a place called Yampa Valley Fibre Works.
Oh, that's right. We got this in
Colorado.
Steamboat.
Yeah, in Steamboat. And it is 100% Cormo Merino, sorry. It's worsted weight, and it's produced by Theos Ranch, Moonshine's Ranch. I'm not sure what that means. But anyway, it's from Craig, Colorado, and Yampa Valley Fibre Works is the mill, I guess.
The
dyer.
It's the mill.
The mill, and then.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know. I'm very confused.
And we bought it at Steamboat.
Steamboat, yeah. And so I bought this, I think maybe 2 years ago.
You're talking about the pink and brown.
Yes,
okay.
I'm sorry. Yeah, the gray, I have no idea. It's just some worsted I had left over. It's probably, I have no idea.
Yeah.
So yeah, I bought this a while ago, and it was something that I used for another project.
Okay.
I think. So anyway, I am so happy with these. I really, 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 really like them. They seem cozy and warm, and they just feel great.
Mm-hmm.
I was wasn't sure how cozy, how comfortable they would be, because it's I guess I don't know how it's spun, and it's also the yarn is a little slubby, so it had a little bit of variation in the size of the stitches and stuff like that. So, but yeah, I had started these. I think I started these like last week.
Yeah. And
they just went really, really quickly. So yeah, mittens are super fun.
Cool.
But yeah, I would actually think about using this colorwork pattern, which is very, very, I think very unique in my mind, on something else, like maybe a sweater or something like that. But,
oh yeah, yeah.
So anyway, I guess my inspirational moment is, if you can't find something that fits you, just combine it with another pattern and it'll be fine. But yeah, I have two whips, which we'll just go through pretty quickly, because we've all seen these. So this one is Awreatha. This is basically a knit wreath. It's by Rachel Kluesner Designs. And I've talked about this before. It hasn't gotten. It's gonna be kind of hard to see, but because it's being knit in the round. But it's basically going to eventually be turned into a stuffed wreath. So, and I'm basically marling two colors together to make it happen. It's coming along. Yeah. So
that's this and this.
That's Republican Unicornia, and that is
Artisan Yarns by. It's on the front. Artistic Yarns by Abby.com.
Yeah, Abby.com. So yeah, I like how this is turning out. I like how the two colors are sort of marling together, and I like how there's slip stitches along the way, and I like how that looks. So yeah, it's I don't think this will be done by this Christmas, because I still got I'm not even halfway through it yet, but maybe next year. So so that's that. Very fun pattern. I'm really interested to see how it turns out. And then I have Scott's socks.
Oh God, I forgot about my socks.
So this is Ravenswood Fibre, right?
Uh-huh.
Ravenswood Fibre. The pattern is called Cabin Socks. And so I have done, the first one is done, although ends aren't woven in. And the second one, I am on the foot. So, love this pattern. The two colors are both Ravenswood Fibre Company. This one is called Birch. The white is called Birch. And the other color is Autumn Drive. I believe. It is. So anyway, what is fun about this is, so this is my first time doing heel flap and gussets, and I don't know if you can see the heels right here, where one of these heels is not like the other. So basically, this is a really good exercise in reading your pattern. So this heel right here is worked incorrectly, and this heel is worked correctly. And so you can see.
So as most people who've done a heel flap and gusset design knows, when you do the heel flap, you knit, slip, slip knit, slip knit, slip knit one row, and then you slip the first stitch and purl the rest of the row on the second
I was
one.
purl slipping the whole second row. So you had all these like, it was I was like, why is this so funky? Why does it look so?
Because you slip knitted and then you purl slipped.
Purl slipped, right? So you had this like these slip stitches that just sort of went all the way, yeah. So yeah, this one, if you can see this,
it does fit.
It does fit.
It's just they're gonna fit differently.
Right, and this heel is very strong.
It's very dense.
Very dense. But this heel is correctly done. So anyway, this is the pair of socks I'm making for Scott. And the fun thing about this one is what I'm going to do for this sock. This is, I'm going to do another stripe of white on here. So.
What?
So one of the sort of things they suggest is to, for one of the socks, to do let's use like a little stripe of white here, and do another stripe of white there.
Why are you going to do them differently?
Because I want to.
Oh, okay.
And I'm a little worried about running out of the main color.
Okay.
So anyway, these should be done. These are I pick up when I have a moment, I just do 2 rows and put it back down. So it's...
Yes, whatever.
What?
Just with my obsession of sock knitting, that's hard for me to understand.
Yeah, I know.
So, yeah.
So yeah, these will get done eventually. And then Scott will have a pair of socks to wear.
Yes.
He has no...
Would it be mean if I picked up and did this pattern and did it for myself and finished it? And see who finishes first?
I would not be mad as long as you made it for me.
I just said I was going to make it for me, but yeah,
No.
I might make it for you.
No, you can make it for you.
Is this DK?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is DK white yarn.
Cool.
So, anyway, yeah.
Is the Pride and Prejudice Sock Club by Trilogy Yarns DK weight?
Yes. We have so much. I've been ordering nothing but DK for a while.
Okay, so we've got lots of DK yarn to knit socks with.
Yeah.
Okay.
So only one of them is only one of those skeins.
And how did you figure out how many stitches to cast on?
For
that.
The pattern told me.
Well, but socks vary. Like a woman's foot, a small woman's foot and a large man's foot are going to need totally different number of stitches cast.
Yeah, they have a large size and a... I just did the large size.
Okay, honey. Like people
I followed
modify their stitches.
I followed the pattern. I followed the pattern. I followed the pattern. The pattern told me to cast on.
People modify their sock knitting like literally by 1 or 2 stitches.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just remember when I knit my first pair of socks and I cast on 72 with 2.5 millimeter needles and they were like this big around.
Yep.
I was just curious.
No, I don't knit socks enough to know how to do that. So
I understand.
this is just, they told me how many stitches to cast on for the large size, and that's what I did.
Very good.
I can read sometimes, except for when I'm doing
Except
the heel.
when you're doing a heel flap.
Oh, the other thing is, so I think I mentioned this last time. So I had started with this yarn. I held nylon with this heel and then part of the toe, and then I'm like, this is awful. So for this one, I'm just holding
It'll
it
be
down.
fine.
It'll be fine. Yeah, that was my thought too.
Yeah.
So that is my sock for you. Socks for you. They'll get done eventually. So those are all my works in progress. I have some fun stuff in the queue. I'm doing one of the funny thing is the reason you found that hat for Nate is I found a hat that I'm gonna do for our other friend Shannon, for Amanda, sorry, from that Kelworm list. So
Who's married to Nate, but not that Nate.
yeah, it's super confusing.
She's married to Nate 1.
Yeah.
All right, so
I have acquisitions.
I have some acquisitions. We should
Okay.
do that now.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, why don't you go first?
All right. So this is I was on Leadingman Fiber. Not Leadingman Fiber. Sorry, that's you. This is Trilogy Yarns, and I don't know why I got a wild hair to spend money on their site, but I did.
Her site.
Her site.
Nancy, who lives in Spokane.
Okay.
She lives in Spokane.
I know. So I was in my search for more and more DK. And so these are from Nancy. This is her MCN DK Merino Cashmere Nylon. And of course I had to get Herd of Turtles and Smells Like a Goat.
Okay, now let's see if we can remember, because my memory is so bad, what the impetus or the genesis was of these colorway names.
So this is some from
That one's Betty Ann. That one, I don't remember where Herd of Turtles came from.
I don't remember either.
Because I know that, like, something my family says, and it's in an episode.
Right.
We talked about this in an episode.
Right.
But I said, one of the things that my family always says is, we're off like a herd of turtles.
Right. I have no idea where. This one came from feels like butter, turned into smells like butter.
No, that's not right. That's what I thought too. But we were on, this was when I think Betty Ann was on one of our, when we called her and she was on one of our episodes, she was calling in. And she said, I love the way that yarn smells. And she kept saying it smells like a goat. And she meant it smells like a sheep. And I love that sheepy smell. And she kept saying it smells like a goat. And smells like I love that goaty smell.
Oh.
I don't think she said I love that goaty smell. But I'm like, that's not right.
Right. Well, like many BA things, it is something,
That's not right.
it's just a little off. So yeah, I'm really...
Like a lot of it's just a little off.
Just a little off. So this is, again, Herd of Turtles and Smells Like a Goat, which I think these are going to be good. I will probably use definitely this one for one of the hats.
That would be good in one of the hats that I showed.
Yeah.
That would be one that would be good for that.
And then I also got, this is also Merino Cashmere Nylon DK, and this is called Timberwolf. I think this might be one of the Crayola colors.
Okay.
I can't remember. But I wanted a nice, solid, light color to do color work
Neutral.
with. Yeah, neutral.
Yeah.
So, and I like this because it's, it's a light gray, so it's not super white. Anyway, these are all squishy wonderfulness. I'm excited to figure out what I'm going to do with them. But, yay! So that's that one. Do you want to do your other?
No, just go ahead and finish.
Okay. And then the other day, I was at Harriet and Alice. I was buying... God. So, because I seem to be needing everything on 5s these days, there is a great shortage of both number 5 tips and small cables for our Chaogu interchangeable set. So I had to go to Harriet and Alice, which is a local yarn store, and I bought like 4 small cables, and then 2 of them are for our sweaters that we're doing in a bit.
Right.
And I bought, and then I bought like a 16 and a 12, I can't remember. So a bunch of small cables, and while I was there, this was just lying around and I picked it up. It is called Moonshine Chunky, which is it's from Jupiter Moon Farm. You interpret it for me.
You're always fun. It's always fun to see.
I just pick up stuff that I like. It's pretty.
Jupiter Moon Farm is the name of the dyer.
Okay. Are you sure?
Yes. Moonshine Chunky is the base.
Okay.
And Coyote Road is the colorway.
Okay. And it is, I can get this part, it is 40% alpaca, 40% wool, and then 20% silk.
And it's bulky weight.
Yeah.
What are you going to knit with this?
I don't know. I have no idea. I just
love
like
how
it a
you
lot.
buy random stuff, but you always end up finding something.
It's always good to have good yarn in your pocket. You never know when you're gonna need
I love having good yarn in my pocket.
Well, like, so for example, that green Republic Unicornia, which I'm using for the wreath, like, that's been lying around forever.
That hat that I did was 2 random skeins of yarn that is in the stash.
It's all about having a robust stash.
That sounds dirty.
I know. Anyway, and I think she said, they're so nice. I really like them.
Harriet and Alice is the best.
They're so nice. They're like this
yarn store.
Their store is about the size of our living room. It's super cozy. The people there are so helpful and nice.
They are very well organized. Like they have an amazing use of that space.
Yeah. I think this would make a good pair of maybe mittens, color work. Mittens.
It's bulky weight.
Yeah. So.
Make a hat out of it, maybe.
That's true. All kinds of fun stuff. So, I will not apologize for buying random yarn skeins because
you know what,
it
John?
makes me happy.
You know what, John?
What?
It is important to always have good yarn in your pocket. And to have a robust stash.
A robust stash and yarn in your pocket.
I had a robust stash there for a little bit, but I shaved it off.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk about me and my acquisitions.
What you have gotten.
So I had Hat Envy, and John knit this hat for our friend Gio.
The Luft Beanie.
The Luft Beanie by
Benjamin Matthews Design.
So, if I'm feeling ambitious, I'll put up a shot of the hat that John, the version. Oh, I can just pull it off of Instagram.
Yep.
That John made. I had hat jealousy, so I want to make that hat.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went on Leading Men Fiber Arts and I bought these colors to do it with.
Mm-hmm.
So this is Poison Apple. Let me see. This is their West End. Oh, you know what? I tried different bases too, didn't I? No, they're all West End.
Okay.
Yeah, they're all West End, which is
their non-superwash merino worsted.
Right. So this is Poison Apple. This is Black Walnut.
Mm-hmm.
And this is It's Cold Outside.
Yeah.
So I think, I can't decide. This might be the middle stripe. Mm-hmm. This would be the outside stripes, and then this would be the main color.
Yeah, I think that'd be perfect.
I think. So, yeah. So that was one acquisition, and along with these, I got those mustache yarn pouches. The other acquisition is one of the kits from Nancy's, from the Trilogy Yarns, from her Princess Bride color sock club, which you guys, if you like knitting socks, you have to do this sock club. It is so cool. She has the coolest colors. Cliffs of Insanity.
Nice.
And then this is the contrasting mini, which, there's a couple colorways from this sock set that are going to be perfect to make socks for Betty Ann. Betty Ann, my mother. If I know most of you know that, but every once in a while people ask in the comments, who's this Betty Ann person that you're talking about? But trilogy. So there's a couple, and which is nice because I think I finally figured out the recipe for her vanilla socks.
Right, and her teeny tiny feet.
And her teeny tiny feet, so it takes like no time to knit them up.
Nice.
Did you know that Nancy lives in Spokane?
Really? That's good. If you keep saying it, maybe you'll get it right. We'll remember it.
Use it in a sentence 3 times and it's yours forever.
Hang on a second. Anything else that we should talk about from notes before we jump into the non-knitting section of our...
There's one thing I was wondering if you would talk about from a technique perspective. So, Jennifer SF said that she's been trying Portuguese knitting.
Yay! I love Portuguese knitting.
And she said that she was probably going to try knitting a sweater inside out because you did that, didn't you? But she said she's nervous about the increases and decreases. So can you talk about how you figured that out?
Yeah. What I did is, when I've been sitting with hats, is that essentially when it calls for a knit two together, you do the equivalent of a slip. It's basically a slip knit.
So when you need to do a left leaning decrease, you do a right leaning decrease and vice versa. So a knit two together becomes a slip knit.
Right, and the slip knit becomes
knit two together.
Well, yeah, purling is the other thing.
So it's a purl
two
together.
Yeah, so purling.
So you have to translate it.
You have to translate basically. I would double check that. The tough one is when you're doing the left, the whatever the slips, whatever so the equivalent, the purl, the slip knit and purl is you have knitting through the back loop on the purl side is really, it's just you have to sort of twist everything around and going like that. Andrea Wong, who is kind of one of the people who really brought Portuguese knitting to kind of American and English knitters. She has some really great tutorials on that.
Okay.
And then Stacy from Very Pink Knits has some really great tutorials. She has a whole series on Portuguese knitting, which are really good too. But Andrea,
so I will try to put a section about Portuguese knitting and link those in the description.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll try to do that.
I would do that. But Andrea Wong, her stuff is really interesting. Like kind of like how was it Nancy? Who's the brioche queen? Is it Nancy Marchand?
Because I haven't done it, I don't remember.
Right, I can't. There's Andrea Wong is like the big Portuguese knitting advocate. And there are a couple. I have another book about Portuguese knitting too. But yeah, definitely check with her stuff. And then again, Very Pink Knit has a couple of really good tutorials on doing increases and decreases in Portuguese knitting.
Okay.
But yeah, the trick is you are doing backwards.
The opposite.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. And the other thing was that David Layton had commented that he's a big fan of Barocco.
Oh yeah.
And he said that, because we always talk about, it's beautiful color 1, 2, 4, 5, and he said that if you go, and he gave us a link in the comments, if you go to their website, the colorways do have names.
Oh really?
Yeah. So they translate it from the number to the colorway on the website.
Are they in Italian?
I don't know.
That'd be amazing.
I didn't actually click the link.
Oh, we should.
But,
yeah.
So.
Although I do love I like the colorway 1357 or 3648. Yeah.
All right, so that's all I had for that.
So that's the comments we've done. Okay, so you're knit sock for Betty Ann, so I think it's time for the BA update, Christmas edition.
Okay.
So again, like many of our BA updates, it's more of a general warning than an update. Okay. So, as you know, Betty Ann is spending the Christmas in Ohio with Scott's brother and taking care of Santiago, who is super, super cute.
With Lisette and Jason. Jason, my brother, Lisette, his wife.
Yeah. So anyway, this is... so she'll be spending Christmas there, and I thought it'd be important to warn the people of the greater Canton-Akron area about kind of the ways that BA celebrates Christmas in her own unique and exciting ways.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
I don't know that Jason knows some people in the neighborhood. I don't know that he's warned them.
to be fair, they're new parents, so
It's true,
they
it's
get
been busy.
they get a little bit of it. So that's how we're doing it.
Right.
And I think we'd said it earlier, like BA's thing is she takes something and then kind of makes it her own. So in a lot of ways, her Christmas traditions are much like everyone else's, but they're just a little different.
They're a little trashy.
I would say, I mean, that's an ungenerous way to think about it. So, and again, some of these may
embarrassing.
They're different.
It's a very Minnesotan way to say that.
Yeah, I mean, yes.
They're interesting.
They're interesting. They are interesting. So, and some of these may be a little too late because it's pretty close to Christmas, and like everything, BA kind of goes all out. So she's probably celebrating Christmas since the last day after Thanksgiving.
Right, first
if
day
not
of Thanksgiving.
before.
Right.
So, so let's talk through them and sort of let people know what to look for.
Okay.
So the first thing is, we have a Christmas tree back there, and Betty Ann is big into Christmas trees, right?
True.
Very important. She loves them. We cut ours down. We went to a tree farm to cut ours down, which is...
When I was growing up, at the trailer that we lived in, there was a Christmas tree in every room.
Was it really?
Mm-hmm.
What people should know is that Betty Ann doesn't go to tree farms to cut down a tree.
No.
She finds...
I didn't know that tree farms existed until
Yeah, right. I mean, she just goes in the yard of someone who's wronged her and cuts down a tree.
All right.
So... And in Georgia, they're just used to it.
Well, and the problem is in Georgia, they were always like 30-foot pine trees.
Right. Yeah.
Because Georgia pines...
Huge. Enormous. Yeah. So anyway, and I think the other thing which is going to be interesting is like, BA's been taking care of Santiago, so I think her people who have wronged her list is probably a little...
Minimal
and probably less about I was wronged as I feel like someone gave me a look in the line at Costco.
Oh, true.
So...
Yeah.
Anyway...
Or any of the delivery people that have come to the house.
Right.
Or... She gets all worked up.
Right. Or, the person who is driving too slow.
Yeah.
So, just so you know, so the trees will be... And she's not picky. I said the Georgia pines are great, but, she's brought home dogwoods.
Mm-hmm.
And,
pecan
trees.
Which mistletoe grows in.
Oh, nice.
So I always thought that mistletoe just, you had mistletoe hanging from your...
little pecan tree.
Your pecan tree that you had chopped down from the neighbor's house that you dragged into your trailer and decorated.
Of course, yeah. I mean, it's one of those things like when you grow up and you realize your traditions are a little different from everyone else's, right? So, yeah. So it's two things. It's kind of the harvesting of trees without going to farms. She's kind of a free range type lady. Mm-hmm. And then there's also the revenge bit too.
Speaking of, I know we're walking through the Christmas traditions,
yes.
But, one of the things that I didn't realize, like, there's so many things. I feel like I was like raised by wolves kind of experience because, I went to college and I learned that all these things that had been normal in our family were not. And it reminded me the other day when she and I were on the telephone and, whenever and I always thought this is the way it was done. Whenever she's done with a phone call, she always just kind of yells into the phone, I'm hanging this up now. And then she hangs up.
Okay.
And so, like, when I would be, like, talking to my friends, I'd be like, I'm hanging this up now. And... yeah. I mean, all these people thought I was so weird all these
Well, and like, you're still hanging up a phone. It's not like it's not like she's, going way out there. Just her own way.
Right, it's just...
yeah.
Okay.
So the next thing she does, which she does Christmas caroling. Which, BA has a beautiful singing voice. And, Scott does too.
Thank you.
So... but what she does...
As no one would be able to tell from the Christmas concert because my solo was so weird, but...
whatever. You were sounding beautiful. And you were funny. So anyway...
it was a comedic solo.
Yeah. So what BA does is she tends to do, like, mashups of her favorite Christmas songs. So I think my favorite one is the mashup of Christmas shoes and Hard Candy Christmas. So I don't know how she does it, but she takes like 2 different Christmas carols and just kind of makes them work together.
Right.
And then she goes out and sings them.
Right.
And being BA, it's not enough to like knock on the door and do the carols. She goes to a mall or a large big box retailer. She sneaks into the sound booth and just makes it happen.
Out. Yeah.
So she usually spends most
I think you're kind of burying the lead in that she often has her accordion with her.
Oh yeah, well of course. I'm sorry, I thought everyone knew about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's how she gets it. You know, like the Weird Al does the mashups. That's kind of Weird Al is one of Betty Ann's heroes.
Right.
And so it's all about these accordion mashups of like God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen and Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer.
Right.
So they're pretty astonishing. You haven't lived until you've been in a Piggly Wiggly and you just hear one.
I mean, just like everything with Betty Ann, it's like there's talent there.
There is.
But it's just like, like in the wrong direction.
I mean, is it? I feel like the impromptu Christmas caroling, I think that brings joy to people. I mean,
not to your 13-year-old son.
Well, I've never
been abandoned on the cereal aisle in the Piggly Wiggly, listen to the Betty Ann and her accordion playing.
That's true. I mean, I guess I have
bringing this up now.
I have a different experience. I've experienced this all as an adult. So, part 3 is she does her outdoor decorations. So we've actually started doing outdoor decorations this year. We got 2 little light up trees that are on our doorstep. So Betty Ann does her outdoor decorating, and she does it in just a Betty Ann way. So what she does is she basically gets her Christmas tube top, of course, right? It's sparkling Christmas. And then she orders to like Wish, and she orders like a big box of them. Like a huge box of Christmas tube tops. And then what she does is she puts them around, like those crochet things where people like
crochet around a
crochet,
tree.
yeah. So she puts
squares on the tree.
Yeah, she tube tops stuff.
Right.
So
I know.
It's all over town. So you'll see these tube tops. They'll be on like lamp posts.
It's like whose sequin glitter tube top is that?
Yeah, it's super festive though.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I mean, and that's one of the reasons we don't really let Betty Ann travel for Christmas. Like we were gonna take her to Disney one year for Christmas, and we were just afraid.
Yeah.
Like
hopefully Jason has kept her away from the computer. She hasn't been able to buy anything on Wish lately.
You think?
I don't know.
I don't know. So anyway, the Christmas...
last time we FaceTimed, it was like she had this tube top on, and she's sitting there with Santiago, and it's like the sequins and the Santa Claus here and the Mrs. Claus here, and I just hit the microphone.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just...
I mean, they are...
I'm surprised Jason lets her around him.
Well, I think when you have only known the Betty Ann's Christmas tube top, you don't want your child to miss out on the family traditions. Right. So I think
it's true.
In a lot of ways, Santiago is going to be the bearer of all of this into the next generation.
Well, now that I've relived the horror of my childhood, can we please move on
I've got
from this?
So we got one more thing. So those are her 3 things she does.
Okay.
And then once she's done that, she can make her eggnog and rewatch Knight Rider.
So, why does she watch Knight Rider for Christmas? This is something new I'm not aware of.
Oh, really? Because she and I bonded on this. Okay. So she'll watch the whole series Knight Rider over Christmas. So she does her caroling, she does her tree up, she...
Where's her tube? Or she tube tops the town.
Tube tops the town. And then she watches Knight Rider. So the whole season.
We watched Knight Rider a lot, and now that you mention that, I mean, I guess you're right. It was usually around Christmas time.
Yeah.
She binges the whole series.
She and I first bonded about how we thought that evil Michael Knight was a lot hotter than regular Michael Knight.
Right.
David Hasselhoff drawn-on
Honey,
goatee.
this is a deep cut.
I know.
Nobody's gonna have a touch point for
The
this.
people
reference.
who do get it will love it, though. It's a deep vertical.
Yes, it is.
So then so basically she just, and she's very happy about streaming because it used to be like VHS tape taped off the television. So so
kept in, just like her dad. All the episodes recorded and indexed on index cards.
Of course, yeah.
So okay.
So that's the Betty Ann update. Merry Christmas, Betty Ann. We love you.
Betty Ann. All right. From one crazy lady to another. Now it's time to talk about
Don't block
Angela
Angela with your
Lansbury.
drink.
That would be tacky. All right. So we have a segment in our show where we talk about an Angela Lansbury movie. Neither of us remember why we started this.
No, it's.
But we're just
in the mists of time. We're just going with it.
We're just going with it because we're like on movie number 30 or something. At
pretty
this point.
much.
I don't even remember.
And we haven't. I feel every now and then I like revisit her IMDb page and like we're maybe a third of the way through, maybe half. Like she's done a lot. When you act from, she's like 95 now, and she started being in movies when she was like 19, and she's pretty steadily worked since then. There's a lot.
Yeah. Well, we watched this time
The Greatest Story.
Sorry. The greatest movie. Darn! The Greatest Story Ever Told.
Which is a 1968 movie?
69.
68, 69.
It was after, because 68, it's 69.
Late 60s, 60s.
It's 69.
Right. The movie took like years to shoot, so who knows?
Right.
So it is the retelling of the life of Jesus.
And as someone, and I didn't write it down, as someone said in the comments, we're just going to skip over the fact that it's actually an Easter movie.
Well, so here's what I'm going to say to that.
Okay.
There is, it's the whole life, but like, just like the Gospels, he's born, then he's 33.
Right.
So, and most of the movie is the preaching and all that other stuff leading up to the
his life in
Galilee and Judah and whatever. So we're gonna also go through this. Like neither one of us is particularly religious, so I also this is a very religious and very reverent movie.
Yes.
And so
and we're giving it the respect that it deserves from that perspective. We are not poking fun at that.
No, we're not poking. Yeah, no. But there's other stuff to talk about. But the
production of it and just some of the other things are pretty amazing, and we're going to talk through.
So when we talk about Angela Lansbury movies, we talk about a couple of things, and I thought
for those of you who didn't watch the movie,
I thought we could actually do something nice for people, and we're going to insert right now the entirety of Angela Lansbury's performance, spoken performance in this movie.
Yep.
You hear it?
I don't hear anything.
And that's it.
And that's it. She appears in like corner scenes of something like that, but that is this movie is 3 hours and 20 minutes long.
You see a woman next to Pontius Pilate, and you're like,
is that Angela Lansbury?
It's Angela Lansbury.
And then she shows up in another scene and like whispers something in his ear, like off to the side. And you're like, oh, that's so. So she's not much in this movie.
No.
The original cut of this movie is 4 hours long. 4 hours and 20, much longer.
I was going to say 4.5 hours.
So I feel like any part that she did have is probably somewhere on a cutting room floor somewhere.
Although who, I mean, the average layperson, I mean, who really knows a lot of details about Pontius Pilate's wife? Not a main character in the Christmas story.
No.
Or the Easter story.
Right. But her name's Claudia in the IMDb credits.
Oh, there you go. Pontius Pilate, so it's Claudia Pilate.
I mean, if that was how I don't know how the Roman naming conventions went. So, what do we talk about?
Okay, so her age that she was playing versus the age that she was.
No idea.
No idea.
Yeah. So she was Telly Savalas' wife, who was much...
Yeah, Telly Savalas' wife.
So, it's one of the delightful things about this movie.
She was Kojak's wife.
Kojak's wife. So this is Telly Savalas. He shaved his head for this role, and he liked it so much that that's where he kept it.
Oh my gosh.
So
all these little nuggets.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
So, okay, so...
There were no fiber crafts.
There were no fiber crafts.
Well,
none. No. Everyone wore woven cloth.
Yeah. There were no cats. She wasn't murdered in a horrible way that we're aware of.
No. I don't know if there's a mythology on what happens to Pilot's wife, but...
Claudia Pilot. Mrs. Pilot.
And,
Is that it?
Oh, and her billing.
Yeah.
So
there was 5,000
this cast was so enormous. Like, she was part of the second clump of names.
Like, literally, what's the guy from MASH?
Jamie Farr was in it. He was one of the disciples.
Like, John Wayne was a centurion.
And yeah, it's like literally they I think we talked about this last time, like they just gathered up everyone and put them in this Bible movie. So in some ways, so it's a little distracting at times. You're like, we watch things like, oh look, there's Jamie Farr. There's Corporal Klinger. Although, to be fair, this is way before MASH. But
right. Salminio was in it. So the guy who played Jesus
is Max von Sydow.
Yes, who I only know him as being 70 years old plus.
Yeah.
He was so, anything to say about this movie, he was really good.
He was really good in it.
He was really good.
It was distracting though because, again, it's like one of those things where we're seeing a movie that was made in the 60s, in 68, and we're watching it in 2020. And so the director chose Max von Sydow, whatever.
I don't know.
Because he was this unknown Swedish actor. Not knowing that by the time we've seen him, he's been like the villain in like 5,000 movies.
Right.
I think he's in one of the Die Hard movies. I can't remember.
Yeah. One of the things that was really effective in the direction of the movie was there were scenes when Jesus was saying particularly important things and he stared dead into the camera and said, it was like he was center frame and he said them into the camera and it was like he was saying them to you.
Right.
I thought that was really effective.
Yeah. So
I didn't need 3 hours of walking around through the desert.
Well, and so there are a couple of things. So when they made this movie, before they made the movie, they commissioned someone to do this series of Harris, don't eat presents.
Okay,
you're such a bad dog. They commissioned this series of paintings to kind of be the reference for the scenes they did. And so it was a little bit paintings come to life.
Yeah.
And so you would have these scenes that were oh, this looks like a painting. Except it's not a painting. It's people moving very slowly through a frame, and it looked very, I don't know, it wasn't super effective.
It was pretty epic.
It was pretty epic.
As movies go.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that was kind of fun for me about it was I was raised Southern Baptist by my grandmother. And I know a lot of, and I also went to a private Christian school for several years of my childhood. And so we had to memorize big chunks of the Bible.
Right.
And I know those stories.
Right.
And there were parts of that story that I have either forgotten or didn't know.
Right.
So the fact that not Pontius Pilate, Herod, was it Herod that had the firstborn children, or the male children that were born that year that Jesus was born, all killed?
Yep.
I think I must have mixed that up with the Passover story. Yeah, so there was that, and then there was oh gosh, that was the big one that kind of struck me as not remembering that from all the Bible study that we did growing up.
Oh, and another thing, watching it in 2020 as opposed to 68, the disciples, who are all these kind of young, handsome men with beards in their 20s. They look like 2020 hipsters. All right, where were we?
You were talking about the fact that the disciples look like hipsters.
They look like hot hipsters.
Right.
So I was like, oh, that looks like the hot guy from the coffee shop I used to go to. Back before.
But really, it's.
But actually, it's Thomas.
Thomas, yeah.
So it was a very. It reminded me a little bit of 2001.
Oh yeah, you said that.
So it was so.
The pacing.
The pacing was so slow. And so maybe if you were in a movie theater where you could sort of drink it all in, it might have been better. But like watching it downstairs, we had to rent this movie twice.
Yeah.
So we started it, got to like the Sermon on the Mount, and then stopped it, and we had to rent it again.
Yeah.
So
well, part of that was I had another one. I had my unfortunate incident that I referenced at the beginning where it's like I had to watch all funny stuff for a while.
Right.
Watching Jesus be crucified was not something in the middle of a panic attack I was interested in watching.
No. But it's a very long, very slow movie. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of an interesting...
I'm glad we watched it. I mean, it's one of those movies that I had never even heard of.
Right.
And it's this epic, it's like Ben-Hur or Gone with the Wind or, I mean...
Without the fun action scenes.
That's true.
I mean, and I think that's... And I know it's... And I think it's probably that...
I thought it was very... okay, I'll say this.
Mm-hmm.
Not being a particularly religious person,
Mm-hmm.
I have to say it was very effective at taking a story that you hear all the time
Mm-hmm.
when you're growing up
Mm-hmm.
and making it real.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you talk about, you think about them wandering through the desert. Well, it's like you actually see how kind of bleak that landscape was.
Except it's Arizona,
I
not...
know, John, but you get the point. God. So, and then like talking about, the moment that he's baptized by John the Baptist in the Jordan River. Like that was a very effective scene.
Yeah. Charlton Heston, John the Baptist.
Yeah, Charlton Heston. But, and the other thing I think that this movie brought home that I never reading it on the page or hearing the preacher talk about it is that it really brings home the story about how that group of people were persecuted.
Right.
And it kind of helps you understand the fact that they were kind of following this guy that they really believed in, but what those barriers were like when they were trying to get through the checkpoint.
Right.
And when they were was it going into Jerusalem?
Yeah. Well, and I think my sense of it is he was trying to make some sort of point about authoritarianism, right? So you had kind of two types of scenes in that movie. You had the, Jesus and his disciples walking around the desert preaching, which are all these like beautiful, like austere, but really kind of amazing outdoor landscapes and pretty stuff. And then you had anytime you were dealing with the Romans, Herod, or the Pharisees, they were in these really dimly lit, dark, kind of foreboding, whatever sets. So
that's a good point. Well, and speaking of the Pharisees, like there was the scene where there's the money changers in the temple.
Yeah.
And I'd heard that story 1,000 times, and I think when you're little, you think, oh, it's Jesus going in, and it's Jesus. I mean, it's Jesus. Of course, everybody's going to bow down to him. But like when you see him going in there, and he's throwing over these tables, and it's people's money. Yeah. And you think about that happening today. If some guy went into the grocery store and started ripping the cash registers out. Right.
People would be a little irritated.
So I mean, I thought. I mean, I've seen other movies, but I don't know. There was something, and maybe it was Max von Sydow or whatever his name is that made it so effective because he's such an amazing actor. But yeah, it was...
although occasionally you're like, that dude is Swedish.
That guy is not from the Middle East.
He is, and it was less about how he looked, where he'd occasionally say something, and it'd be like, dude, you are Swedish,
right?
But yeah, I mean, I think I'm glad we watched it too. I I'm glad I had something to knit on while I watched it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. But I think even for someone, I mean, I think from someone like me who came from the culture that I came from, and I know that you grew up in the South as well, but your parents were not particularly, my parents were not particularly religious either, but my grandparents were.
Right.
And that culture, you understand, I think through this movie I kind of understood the power of that story in a way that I didn't before.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
Cool. What are we watching next time?
Mrs. Claus. Mrs. Claus.
That's right. This is the Todd wins.
This is the one. I don't know anything about this except it's like Mrs. I don't know. We'll have a more specific thing.
Yes, and if anybody's wondering why I'm talking about Todd Michael Thomas, I think we should just say his name really fast every time we say it.
Todd Michael
Thomas. He wanted to watch Mrs. Claus as part of the Angela Lansbury thing, like back in July.
Yeah.
And,
but Scott wouldn't let me because it was a Christmas movie. And now that it's finally Christmas, we can watch it.
I'm going to let y'all win.
Even though we're going to watch it after Christmas, more than likely. So.
We got a week.
That's true.
Christmas is on Friday.
Yes. So we could do like a Boxing
Day. We'll watch it
on
Christmas.
What else are we doing, right?
Yeah, we're not going to visit family, unfortunately.
No, we are sitting around here, do a little Zoom and a little baking and opening presents.
Yeah, Biddy Ann's getting a very exciting gift this year, so, and it's not a tube top, so.
She's got plenty of those.
I'm making my brother not reveal what the present is, and he's about to die.
Okay, I don't know what the present is.
So mom will buy me a gift, and then, let's say she buys it on April 15th, and it's for my birthday on May 16th. She will say, do you want me to tell you what it is? Do you want me to tell you what it is? And then she'll text me, do you want me to tell you what it is? And I'm like, no, because I like surprises. And because Christmas is not going to be the same, because we're not going to be with family, like, I think it would be nice to give Biddy Ann this, well, I don't know if it's going to be there by Christmas Day, but at least tell her what it is on our Christmas Day Zoom call or whatever. And Jason's like, can I tell Mom what it is? Can I tell Mom? And I'm like,
it's like you're from the same family.
I know, exactly.
So
he got those genes.
Yeah.
I don't really have that problem. Like, I love waiting and revealing.
You love surprises.
I do love surprises.
So.
All right. Well, oh my gosh.
That's our dog.
All right. Well, thank you guys for spending time. With promises. So we forgot to talk about that during the knitting, but that's
we can talk about it. So we've been doing promises.
Yes.
So my promises were...
Okay, pause. They're not really promises. We just think that it's funny to call them promises, and we like that song.
Yeah.
Because we hardly ever do them, so they're not really promises.
So my promises from from 3 weeks ago's Knitcast were to work on your sock and do the mittens. And I did both of those.
Very good.
I mean, if we'd done it the weekly podcasting thing, I might not have. But because we waited, I was able to keep my word.
My promises were to start on a hat, which I've almost done with, and then to not cast on a sock.
I know.
3 times. I have picked up sock yarn and headed towards the Swift and got my 9-inch circulars.
And you just dropped it.
And I'm just like, no, I made a promise.
That's good. That's 3 weeks. That's like cold turkey. It's killing me. All right.
So what are our promises for next week? Oh, and somebody, I don't remember what her name was, she commented and she's like, why don't you just write them down?
That's no fun.
I'm like, that makes too much logical sense.
Right. Okay, my promise is I'm going to start the hat for Amanda. Which is going to be... So it's this crazy pattern. It's like a tam. It's got like... You have to like do baubles and you like make flower petals with like all this weird stuff. I'm really excited about it, but I had to practice a lot before I felt comfortable with like huge yarn and like big hooks before I got comfortable starting it. So I'm going to start that and be able to show that off. And then what else? I don't want to promise finishing your sock. That seems like a bad idea. No, not the cat's playing with it. Anyway.
There is a bolt that our dog found.
I don't know where it came from.
And now it's all the animals' favorite toy. It's a bolt.
Right.
It's just a bolt.
It's metal. You can't eat it.
It's not exciting here.
So.
It's just a bolt. He's ready for us to be done with this. And pay attention to him.
So I will start that hat.
Okay.
I will finish your sock.
Okay. Throwing down the gauntlet.
I feel like I can do that.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to finish.
I mean, it might be a toeless sock.
I'm going to finish Nate 2's hat.
Okay.
And I want to try to say something about the ornaments, but I can't come up with a good goal about the ornaments. So why don't I say... I don't know what to do. I know what I'll do. And I will show off. I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but I'm going to do a special ornament for Santiago every Christmas.
Fun.
With the year on it and color work. And so I'm going to show off. I'm going to have Santiago's ornament to show off.
Nice. That sounds great.
Yeah, it'll probably be like a ball that I figure out a pattern for.
Right. 2020
Santiago 2020 or something like that.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah. All right.
Cool.
All right. Okay.
I think
we have completed our
missions.
checklist.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you so much for spending time with us.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas or whatever holiday you celebrate. And
if any.
If any.
Yeah.
Happy Festivus.
Yes.
And we will see you again soon.
All right.
Bye.